Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Ryan with Rigs of Death Metal. Today my guest is Travis Stone. Several different bands, most notably right now would be Cavalera Conspiracy and Pig Destroyer, as well as Desolus. So what's going on, Travis?
Hey, how's it going? Feels good to be here. Thanks for
Hey,
having.
thanks for taking the time, man. Really appreciate it. So first and foremost, I meant to check this, so fault on my part if I'm off here. Were you or obviously you've been touring on on the songs with
Yeah,
Cavalier Brothers. Did you actually get to be a part of the re-recording, I assume?
yeah. I helped
Okay.
re-record Schizophrenia, but not Be Still and Morbid.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha. So just being such a diehard Sepultura fan,
mm.
uh, I gotta ask about that whole process and experience.
Oh man, it was so cool. Yeah, it was fun. They hit me up because they needed someone to play guitar on the future Be Still and Morbid tours and all that. So I was like, yeah, I'm totally down. It sounds like fun. Um, and then probably like a day or two after, they asked me, I was like, hey, would you also be down to re-record Schizophrenia? And I was like, oh my God, that's one of my favorite Sepultura albums of all time. And so I was really stoked at it to do it at first, and then I got really anxious because I didn't play like lead guitar or anything for like quite a few years. So I felt a little rusty, and I was anxious, and I didn't want people to hate me because I was taking over. I was filling in big shoes basically, and
For sure.
yeah, it was cool. I learned them all best to my abilities. I had my buddy Demir help me learn the solos to all the songs. I try to get them as close as possible, just so I wouldn't catch any more flack. It was just a very like nerve wracking process, but it was an insane and it was an insane experience and very rewarding in a way. Because that's this is one of my favorite albums. I've listened to them since I was a teenager, of course, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, and then finally getting to like record with them. We rehearsed at their practice spot in Phoenix for like a couple days before recording, and it felt crazy, like Max is just hanging out and Igor and all that, uh, and at that point I was trying to get into more like underground like Brazilian thrash bands
Hmm.
from like the 80s, and prior to that whole trip, I was listening to. Do you know what Radio Garden is?
No.
So Radio Garden is like an app where you can. It's almost like Google Maps or Google Earth. But you go over a highlighted section of the world, and it brings up like a bunch of different radio stations. You
Oh,
can,
okay.
yeah, you can listen to a bunch of radio stations from around the world. And one day I got curious, and I went. I like went through all the radio stations in Central and South America, and I got to Belo Horizonte, and I forgot what the radio station was called, but they were playing. They played Inner Self, and I was like, "That's sick." And then the next song was from this band called Psychic Possessor, which is like a '80s thrash band. I think also from Bello, but I was listening to it, I was like, man, this shit's fucking sick. And then I went down a whole rabbit hole of 80s thrash bands from Brazil. And I asked them about it when we were in the process of like rehearsing, and they were like, how did you find out about these guys? Like, that's crazy. We've like, we don't know too many people that have heard of them. And then that just opened some floodgates of the stories that they had from back then in the underground metal scene and all.
That's so cool.
But yeah, that's just like I could talk all day about that. That was just an unreal experience I got to do. There was which song was I think it was actually for Escape to the Void. I had I screwed up a part, and we had to redo the whole song just because there was a certain fill that Igor did that
Yeah.
just kind of like distracted the hell out of me. It was like a really long like he was playing it fast as hell, and it sounded awesome from the room sitting in. and I just kind of like got stunned for a second and didn't come in at the right point, and then we just had to redo the song. And I think it might have frustrated him or something. I don't know, but it was super cool. We got it done, so it wasn't a huge deal or anything. But
So you guys tracked it live?
so basically, how we did it, we rehearsed, then
Uh-huh.
we went into the studio, and Igor was in a separate room from us that was we were communicating by like cameras,
Sure. Yeah.
and so it was the three of us in the control room playing, me, Max on guitar, and he was doing scratch vocals, and then little Igor was doing the bass
Hmm.
in the room together. So we kind of tracked it live ish. Like Igor
Gotcha.
was all like mostly one takes. And then we did like demo takes when we were in the room. So then we re-recorded the guitars after we did the drums, but like we pretty much did it like how a live band would. So
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's just kind of mind-blowing. I didn't expect that for some reason. Well, it's just
Yeah,
not
yeah,
commonplace anymore. You know what I mean?
yeah. A lot of bands do it separately, tracking like
Sure.
through the ethers, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like how Pig Destroyer did it too. Like when we recorded the EP, the Octagonal EP.
Okay. That also surprises me there. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's the age we live in where everybody's like expectation for fidelity is so high that everybody almost feels like they kind of have to track a certain way. That like when you do hear a band like I don't know if it was the last one or the one before, like one of the more recent Meshuggah records, like they tracked it live room with real amps and people just like minds are kind of blown about, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
It's yeah.
I think that's cooler to do it that way. But nowadays, like the technology for amp simulators and modulars are so crazy that sometimes you can't even tell that they were live or not. You know,
Yeah.
like me and I side story, me and Sebastian were actually watching the episode he did with Matt Harvey and him when he was filling in for Gruesome.
Oh
uh,
yeah.
yeah, we were just watching that not so long ago because I was telling him that I was doing this with you and he was stoked. But bringing him up, he's my best friend. He actually lives across the street from me. But
That's sick.
yeah, like with the amp modules and like stuff on the computer, like
Mhm.
we did we did like a back-to-back comparison the other night. Like I have this JCM 2000 that I was just screwing with. I just got a MXR 10 band EQ
Mhm.
to mess with and get different tones and all that. And we were messing with that, and then we went onto his computer and messed with an amp simulator on there, and it was like almost identical. It was ridiculous how close it sounded. So I think that in a way it is pretty cool that you can record and like send it through email and have people record in their own spaces and stuff. But I like the idea of being able to be in a room and jam together and capturing that same kind of energy live, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Um, I've got I've got a band in the works, like haven't really done much yet. It's still just kind of writing, but we're kind of
Yeah.
the game plan is to write and demo stuff out. Once it's decided upon, the our drummer, you know, we've got a recording set up at his place. So, you know, me and him are
Oh
gonna
yeah.
at least me and him are gonna track the songs like together, so, you know, playing the same time, headphones with a click, and you know, at least like the foundation of the recordings are gonna be like me and him in a live situation, and then kind of layer everybody else in on top of it
Yeah.
because it does have just a completely different vibe. And I've like my old band, we recorded live room with like cabs in different rooms, and
Mm,
you know everybody on headphones. Our vocalist was in another room, kind of thing.
yeah.
It I don't know. It's just weird, not like sloppy looseness, but
Mm.
I don't know, just different vibe. Definitely, even like kind of, like let's say you do like three or four takes and you just take the best sections of each one. If you blend them right, it still sounds awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
One of my favorite Morbid Angel records is actually like the live one.
Really.
Yeah, what was it? Entangled in Chaos? Is that what it's called? I can't remember.
Let me
It
look this
was
up.
it was still during David Vincent years, I believe.
Yeah, it was like right after. Was it right after Damnation or Domination? Sorry.
I kind of want to say yes. I'm not totally sure.
I feel like it's the only because their albums are in ABC order. I feel like it's one of the. Wait, is it? Yeah, yeah, it is Entangled in Chaos.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. I think I picked that up randomly and without even at first realizing it was a live record, and I put it on, and then like a couple songs in, finally hear some crowd noise. I'm like, "Oh shit, this is live."
Yeah.
I was like, I just thought it was a really vibey death metal record.
I mean, they could have totally overdubbed it. Not to like
Yeah.
ruin it, but that is a total possibility because like there's bands that have been doing that for years. Like especially Kiss. There's
Oh
like
yeah.
pretty much no live tracks on there except for maybe drums.
Right. Piping in stock laugh track.
Yeah, yeah. Stole it from Seinfeld.
Yeah. I always thought it would be really funny for, like the Wilhelm scream or
Oh yeah.
like just some stock like I Love Lucy laugh track kind of stuff thrown into a live record. Um,
That.
what is so you mentioned the JCM 2000. Is that your main live amp right now, or what's your go-to rig?
I wish it was. It is not right now. I actually just bought it off of Scott this past year, like maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. But right now I use 6505s out because I mistakenly traded or sold my Ampeg VH 140 like an idiot because I was a teenager when I did it, and I was like, "Oh, I want a 6505." But I still have it, and it's out in Phoenix at the storage unit. So I use that on US runs, and then they already have 6505s in Europe and stuff, so I use that over there as well. So I use that. Uh, and I'll use like a bunch of Mike Klein pedals because
Nice.
he's the man.
Oh yeah.
Use the ball gag. I switched between a few different of the distortion pedals he has. Like I have a husk pedal that I used on the first um, Morbid Devastation tour I did with Cavalera.
Hmm.
Um, and then I lately have been switching to he made this pedal for me a while ago for my bass. I was gonna have a bass distortion. I called it the Gentleman after Pig Destroyer song. And it's like it's got no clean mix. It's just straight up dirty. It's supposed to be like a modified rat pedal, basically.
Okay.
And I'm gonna start sneaking that into the future pedal board. But I mainly use the husk, ball gag, the Lonely Ghost for solos,
Hmm.
and then I use a torture rack pedal, which is like an eventide detune pedal. I was just obsessed with that sound for it's like it's in the beginning of Maze of Torment from Morbid Angel.
Okay.
That chorusy effect. It's sweet because it has that chorus effect, but it's not like overbearing in the mid range frequencies.
Yeah.
So I use that for like the solo-y type parts just to make it sound a little more 80s. And
Okay.
yeah, then the GLX wireless tuner thing. I feel like I'm missing something, but that might be it for like behind the amp. And then I use a channel switcher to tap on the solo. Like I put the Lonely Ghost and the torture rack through the effects loop, and I put them both together. So when I hit that effects loop channel on the
Oh, gotcha.
65 thing, then it comes up for the solo, gets a little louder. So
Hell yeah.
yeah,
I've seen the torture rack, and I don't know why. I just did not remember that's what it was. I probably would have snagged one by now.
dude, they're so sick. Like that's probably my favorite pedal ever. Like I would use it in any circumstance I can, but it would get annoying, I'm sure.
Man, Michael has such a cool knack for trying to cram in the sounds of like really sought after 80s rack gear into
Yeah.
his really cool form factor of pedals. Like, I is it all of his reverbs or just like the Lonely Ghost maybe? And that it's like the Alesis like quadriverb or something like
Yeah.
that that it's based off of, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just super fucking sick.
Yeah, yeah. It's awesome because I can just hit him up and be like, "Hey, man, like, there's a sound I really want." And this is how I got the torture rack. I was like, "Hey, man, like, I've been trying to figure out what the hell pedal this is, but it's on Maze of Torment. They use it for Eye Against Eye. You know, some Dokken songs have it. Eddie Van Halen. He's like, "Oh, you're talking about the Eventide Deep Tune? Yeah, I already got a pedal that does that." I'm like, "Fuck, give it to me, please."
Damn.
Yeah, I anytime I have questions about that sort of stuff, or if I need a certain sound, or if like same with Sebastian, he was I don't know if it was him or someone else that was really trying to get the valve state tone into a pedal, like the preamp pedal, like the Evil Chunk.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
might have been Matt's obsessed with that amp, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the coolest things about him, besides him being like the nicest guy on the planet.
Oh yeah.
Um,
He's
he's
a
just
sweetheart.
yeah, he's a mad scientist with the pedals.
Absolutely. I want to really try one of his new amps too.
Ah, yeah, yeah. They sound. I want to as well. I got to see it live at I think it was Helm Harbor.
Hmm.
Goat Horror played, and Sammy was using it for their set,
Right.
and that immediately sparked Scott's interest. He was like, "What kind of amp is that?" And he was like, "Oh man, it's badass. Michael Klein Sigma head they made for me." It's like, "Damn!" And now he's got it out, and it sounds killer. Like,
Fuck yeah.
yeah,
We got to check it out when we did the in person rig rundown with Sammy. Kind of
yeah.
went through it and shit and got to hear it for sound check. I was like, oh my God, it's so good.
Oh, creamy good.
Absolutely. So as far as let me see, what is your live rig with Pig Destroyer?
So that is a lot more dumbed down and very like straight to the point, because we do a lot of flying gigs, not so much touring. So we
Yeah.
try to make our rigs as portable and streamlined as possible. So I use an Axe with a certain like channel bank that I got like 3 or 4 of them that Scott just kind of he nerds out on that. So he'll just make a bunch of different tones for me, and then I'll just choose whatever one I like. And
Mhm.
yeah, I just use Axe into the GLX wireless.
Nice.
It goes into the back of whatever head that they give us. Yeah, it used to be a lot more. I used to honestly like I like the Axe effects, but the rig I had before we started using the Axe effects or Quad Cortex, it was the best sounding rig I had, because it was the AO900 head from Dark Glass.
Oh,
It's
okay.
one of the microtube heads.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
built-in compression. It's got a 10 band EQ, I think, and it's got its own distortion. I use that with a noise suppressor, tube screamer, and a wireless tuner, the Shure wireless tuner.
Okay.
It was badass tone. We played at the Auto Bar, and I noticed one of the people that were opening up for us had one too, and had the same settings as me. And I was like, "Is that motherfucker using my head?" And like after the show, I went up to him and was like, "Hey, you got one of those too?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And then we were talking about how awesome the head it was, and he said that he was watching us during sound check, and he copied my settings that I had because it sounded good. And I took that as a big compliment. I'm usually not good at making tones. It's usually
Yeah.
way too like warm and like I don't know, chunky sounding, I guess. But I felt pretty proud of that.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be everyone I know, I think, in some way.
Man, it is so cool how you've got to make these connections with like, because how old are you?
I'm about to be 30 next month.
Okay, so we're about the same age, so I'm sure like grew up listening to these bands, and now you've
Yeah.
kind of sort of landed not just one but two dream gigs at the same time. Like
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty
got
killer.
really really lucky, honestly. A lot of it just happened by chance. You just run into these people and you just be friends, you know. And everyone's for the most part has been super cool. Haven't really met too many people that were douchebags.
Too many.
So yeah, not too many. I definitely have met a couple, but not too many that I mean, yeah, the ones
Sure.
who matter are still around right now, so that's a good sign.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then still playing the Jacksons.
Yeah. So right now I have them actually right behind me if you want me to pull one out.
Sure.
All right, let me grab one real quick.
All
I
right.
I just fixed one up. It's in my Enki case, but this is the one I just got fixed up. A new bridge on it. It's
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh,
yeah.
the Goto. Yeah, we were
Yeah,
talking about that.
it's super nice, man. Like I wish I would have gotten these sooner. Just because all my Jacksons except for the one RR I have Floyd Rose specials, and they're kind of a nightmare because they're made out of like casted metal, like I think
Hmm.
alum aluminium or something like that. So they strip up really fast, or you know.
Oh, yeah.
This is like solid hardened steel, so it's way better of a quality. It's been staying in tune pretty well, except for it has that issue where when you do like some dive bombs, you have to yank it back up to get it back in tune.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's the only like issue I have with it at the moment. But I think it's just the strings need to be like stretched out a bit more. But it's a badass guitar. I tell you what. You can see my white snake flag.
That's killer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the headstock is also mirrored.
Jeez.
Yeah. She bad. I like I like when I'm playing live and I'll shine this in people's faces
Oh,
just to
yeah.
mess with them, or like our sound guy, I'll just like but you know exactly why I got it, right?
Paul Stanley?
Exactly. Yeah. Paul Stanley baby. Yeah, I've always been like really into those goofy 80s guitars and like the with either crazy paint job or just some sort of something about it that it's
Yeah.
not like red or black or white. I used to just play like white or black guitars, and then I got my Warrior behind me, and that's a red one. I just like funky guitars, you know.
Sure. Nothing
Yeah,
wrong with that.
yeah. So yeah, still playing Jacksons for Cavalera. Um, I have a Jackson bass for Pig Destroyer, but I've only played it like once because the nut on it keeps the glue keeps cracking and like the nut just keeps sliding off.
Oh,
So
that
I just
sucks.
yeah, I put it away for now. Like I want to get back to using it eventually because it feels really nice. But I have a Dunable bass at the moment for Piggy D, and I really like that Dunable bass. It took me a little bit to get used to. Um, just because it has like a pretty thick neck,
Hmm.
and I'm usually fine with those, but it gets to a certain point where I'm doing these crazy like stretches, and it's a little thick, and it starts cramping up the hand. You know, like not to
Yeah.
complain about playing bass, but it hurts sometimes. But it's sweet. I got it made right when they were just about to start doing 5 string basses. So I think it's like the second ever made Dunable 5 string.
Okay.
Um, and I love that because like the people that have seen it so far, like yeah, Dunable, like is that a 5 string Dunable? I've never seen one of those. But now
Hmm.
they're making them, so it's not as special anymore.
Wow.
Um, yeah, For a while, I was the only kid on my block that had a 5-string downable.
Hey, you still got one of the first.
Yeah, yeah.
Which model is it? I don't remember if I've seen it or if I did, I didn't recognize it.
It is the RD, and it's right behind me as well. If you want to see that too.
Sure, bring it
All
on.
right. Cool. Got all my gear in my living room right now. But,
Killer.
yeah,
And
it's like
that's their own pickups.
yeah, I can't remember what they're called, but they're really nice. They look like they're kind of burnt a little bit, a little
Yeah.
dingy. Um, yeah, it's like a matte black base. I have a Tanqueray sticker on it.
Nice.
Um, the cool thing about this though, it's like gold crackle on the neck and then the headstock. I don't know if you could see that.
Oh yeah.
See,
Yeah, yeah.
the ones on the neck are a little bit finer crackle, but like on the headstock, it's gold crackle, and it was supposed to be across the body too, but I guess they were having trouble with trying to paint it. So I ended up being like, just I want the base. You can just paint it black, and I'll just take it how it is.
Huh.
And it sucks because when I first got it, I like pulled it out and I was checking it out. I was so excited that I dropped it and immediately chipped it as soon as I got. So I sharpied it up, but I mean they're meant to have some war wounds here and there.
Right.
But
Yeah. Hey, it's kind of like you took the pressure off. It's like, well, now I guess I don't have to worry as much.
yeah, now I throw this around like crazy. I need to do some work to it. The pots are super dirty, and I've probably punched them a couple times to where it knocked them out of uh, the wiring. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think straight.
Out of curiosity, so what is Pig Destroyer playing in these days? Is it B or?
So we play in B standard for a lot
Uh-huh.
of it, but we also play like Terrifier stuff, and that's in A standard. And every so often we do drop A, and there's been at least one time we played in drop G.
Okay. Do you just have backups, or do you take a break to tune to the different settings, or do you use the axe effects for pitch shifting?
We use the axe effects for pitch
Okay.
thing. That's the main reason why we got those, because
Sure.
in our original rig we had the Digitech detune pedals, and it just started messing with our tones. So we tried looking for any sort of pedal we can get that would have like a cleaner, less glitchy
Yeah.
pitch shift, just to play a couple songs.
Gotcha.
But every so often, like we'll have interludes where we'll tune down drop A to play like Red and Yellow and a bunch of other tracks like in drop A. So
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Do you have a go-to cabinet for guitar?
If it were up to me, my rig would consist of Marshalls. I would have my JCM, and I would play the 1960 cabs. I do like orange cabs. As far as bass, I could either do with the orange or the Ampeg 8x10. But for guitar, I would mostly prefer a 1960s Marshall cab. But I play the 6505 cabs right now, and they're fine. It's whatever, but I would totally love a Marshall cab.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's in the 650 cabs or
I believe
6505 cabs now?
I believe it's the Celestians, the vintage 30s, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. Yeah, because the cabs that we use are pretty old. At the very least 10 years old.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, so kind of taking a step back a little bit. Let's talk about what first got you into guitar playing.
Yeah. So I grew up in a household where a lot of people listened to different types of music, and my dad and my mom both liked. My dad liked the heavier rock, like Rainbow, Deep Purple, and Zeppelin, and all that. And my mom was into like Heart and Def Leppard and stuff. And my dad always had this this Hagstrom, like the '60s classical guitar that he used to jam on here and there. He'd play like Hotel California, a couple different Zeppelin songs and stuff. And then uh, I used to hang out with my parents, and especially my dad. I'd hang around my dad a lot, like his mini me, he would call me. And anytime he'd mess with his guitar, he'd put it down and I'd pick it back up and like try to strum and mess with it. And then eventually he started teaching me how to play some songs that he knew. He didn't know like whole songs off the bat. But he showed me what he knew. And then eventually I became friends with Sebastian. I've known him since I was probably like 9 years old. He was probably like 10 years old. And he was in a cover band with his dad, and his little brother would play harmonica here and there. And they were playing this local festival, and they played this like Tom Petty song live. And I was sitting on the side of the stage watching them. And I was like, man, I want to do that. So that was the very moment that I wanted to play guitar or play music. But leading up to that, I was just jamming on my dad's guitar because I thought it was cool. And then eventually I got my first guitar, which it was like a first act acoustic, and I started learning a couple songs on it. And then I was hanging out with Sebastian more, and we were into skateboarding a lot, and then we got into punk. And we were like, we should start a band. And we were doing a bunch of Ramones covers and a bunch of like alternative rock covers. And then I got my first electric guitar. And from there, we just haven't really stopped since then. We just acquire a bunch of guitars and just jam in the basement ever since, we were like 10 years old.
So, progressing along, did you ever take any private lessons or music schooling of any kind, anything like that?
Yeah, it wasn't like proper guitar lessons. There's this little music store in the center of town, and they used to have some guy in there that would teach guitar, but he would never teach me like scales or anything. I remember the first time I went in there, he was like, "What do you want to learn?" And I was like a child, and I was like, "I don't know. I want to learn how to rock and roll. I want to learn how to do this song, that song." He's like, "All right." And he told me a few things on the first day, and then the next time he just printed out tabs of songs that I was interested in learning. So the first day he taught me how to read tabs, and I learned a little bit of that. And then from there, he just taught me songs. He never really taught me he didn't teach me any theory or any scales or anything.
Yeah.
Didn't even teach me how to properly hold my guitar. I kind of learned that all from Sebastian. Then I had one lesson with some guy who was like a virtuoso, and he was super nice, but he was also really expensive, and we didn't have the money for that. So I ended up just going there once, and I was like, all right, that's enough. I'm just going to learn by ear from now on because we're doing cover songs anyway. And then from there, that's kind of how I did it. And I don't know, I'm just kind of like lucky enough that I can pick up music pretty well, and I can pick up an instrument and kind of figure out how to play it and learn stuff on it.
Sure. Which is honestly a skill that I think gets overlooked or not discussed enough in
Yeah.
a lot of these, little topical discussions or whatever. But
Mm.
how many more times can I say discussed? But no, it's I've heard other guys that are music producers or composers that have gotten pretty big gigs and things like that. That like
Yeah.
they're not like a music theory professor or anything like that. Like they can speak relatively, probably like how you or I could about like we understand like some guitar harmonies and stuff, right? Like
Yeah. You can figure
and
that out.
yeah, and you can figure out like, okay, well, this riff is like, especially if it's like riding on the low string, it's like, okay, this is
Mhm.
E. I know how to solo over E.
Yeah.
So some basic theory, like we can
Yeah.
get by,
Mm.
or at the very least, we can figure out enough to where we can look up a scale book and then plug it in from there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, but the the cool thing to me. One of my favorite composers right now is a guy named Jesse Zaretti, and he's like worked for Marvel and like Riot Games and stuff, and he's actually
Hmm.
in that band Doth now,
Okay.
and he does like a lot of like the Mick Gordon, like the Doom video game
Mm.
soundtrack kind of stuff. He does that a lot too, but like he's not a big theory guy. He just has a really well developed ear, listens to a broad range of music styles, knows what things are supposed to sound like,
Yeah.
and has enough theory and technical know-how to just do the thing and
Mm.
just kind of know how it's supposed to go. I feel like that's very understated for a lot of musicians, that you just need to know what the end product is supposed to sound like, you know?
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, like as long as you can get the feel for it, I mean, you can pretty much write anything. It does help to know some scales and some sort of theory,
Yeah,
uh, but I mean that's stuff they can learn over time and help you position. Uh, I mean, most of the old jazz fusion guys, I mean, like I'm sure they were way more obsessed with learning and just jamming with people that they probably just learned that over time.
sure.
Not only being like, some of them, I'm pretty sure some of them have gone to like college and stuff for that sort of thing, but the, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm getting at right now. But I watched that recent yacht rock documentary, and they were mentioning how Asia was basically the backing band for most of the yacht rock people. Um,
Interesting.
but yeah, yeah, like if I'm not mistaken, Steely Dan was one of them. Like, and a lot of those guys were like self-taught, and I don't know. I guess it is like not only being able to read music, and I mean you could be a total badass and do all these crazy sweeps and shred up and down the guitar neck, but if you can't write a song,
Yeah,
what's the point at that point,
sure.
Yeah, there's plenty of guitarists that totally suck that have written some of the best music ever,
Right.
You know? I don't know.
And then there's some other guitar players out there that they get like the big high paying pop gig that they become known for.
Yeah.
They could be like a virtuoso and have their own solo music that nobody really listens to. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I'm sure they're doing fine. Like
Yeah.
to them, it's like the equivalent of having your cake and eating it too.
No, no. I
Yeah,
totally agree with that. Cause like if you were in like a pop band doing all this and all that and playing the same old stuff on the road, and you don't have that artistic output, you're just gonna go crazy, especially if you're a musician, like I feel like it's cool to have gigs to where you learn all this music and you play it live and it's fun. But I mean, that's why I'm in a bunch of bands. I need that sort of output where I can write music and put it out and have people listen to it and
sure.
hear judgments whether they're good or bad, But I feel like that's like a very important part, and that is definitely the missing piece out of that pie. Is
Yeah,
being able to write your own stuff and put it out there for everyone to hear.
for sure.
I totally get it. I would be
And
miserable to do that, honestly.
yeah, it's which I did like a year of music school and then I
Mm.
withdrew because I was like, well, I'm not going to be a teacher. And what kind of, music professions are in West Virginia? Not a lot outside of being a teacher.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's just kind of one of those things. It's just didn't see a professional career in
yeah.
my with that. But anytime I do talk to people that is like, I don't know, they're trying to progress in some way, shape, or form, or maybe somebody starting off. I always kind of tell people that music theory, knowledge, and trying to broaden your horizons in that specific area
Hmm.
is basically just like expanding your vocabulary.
Yeah,
Like
pretty much.
like you don't have to have your, a master's degree. You don't have to be some kind of, you know, a scholar, like master's degree in English and literature and all that to write a book.
Yeah.
It's it's like, yeah, there's plenty of those guys that have gone on to put out, like be pretty prolific and put out, really great works, but there's tons of classic literature and great novels and books that that we've read that, the guy's not, he's not doing a dissertation or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I
but
totally doubt that Rocky Erickson was a scholar and went to college and got his master's degree
sure,
in rock and roll, you know.
exactly.
But he made great music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Uh, moving, kind of redirecting back to gear a little bit.
Mhm.
Is there anything that you're kind of like looking for? Not just like a shiny, cool new guitar or anything like that. Is there any kind of problem solver piece of gear that you have been kind of looking into, or something that you maybe an issue that you wish that there was something to resolve that?
So I don't know, cause I get gear acquisition syndrome pretty easily. I'm really into photography, as you know, and I have like hundreds of cameras just because like I like what they do, and I want this one because this one looks cooler, or takes different style pictures. But as far as like guitars, I'm definitely the kind of guys like if I see a really cool guitar that's shiny and pretty, I'll get it or try to. As far as like rig stuff, I think the most recent thing I bought, which is that MXR 10 band EQ,
Hmm.
was like my fixer of a piece of gear, I guess. Because I don't know, like I feel like I'm always chasing for that certain tone that feels good to me and makes me like excited to play. Which I'm always excited to play. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but I don't know, like there's sometimes I have trouble with my guitar tone, and then it makes me play like shit because I'm so like hyper focused on that. Like, why does it sound like shit? Does it sound like shit to
Yeah.
everyone else in the room? Is what's going on here? And then I think the 10 band EQ kind of solved that. I followed this page on Instagram called Almost Analog
Oh
something.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
follow.
that dude's super cool, and he makes all these like almost two like spot on tones.
Oh yeah.
And he had one where he did all the thrash tones, old versus new, with
Hmm.
that pedal. And as soon as the nuclear assault uh, tone
Ooh.
came up, like, oh, I'm sold. I need that. That
Yeah.
and yeah, noise suppressors, pretty much.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's metal. How much do we really need, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I used to like really want to get all the different wacky pedals and stuff, but
Hmm.
like after playing for so long, I just want a pedal board that's easy to tear down and won't give me issues. And
Hmm.
from when I was a teenager, it's just it's gotten smaller and smaller and smaller until like I just have one pedal and I don't have to worry about anything else. So I guess for me, the one piece of gear that I have would be like something that doesn't screw up all the time. Or I don't know. Like I do wish there was like a smart noise suppressor that doesn't cut out your tone, but also will cut out radio waves and feedback.
Mm.
Because a lot of places have issues with power.
Yeah.
It'll just make your amp sound insane, and it'll be distracting to everyone else, and you'll start getting looks from not only like the crew on the side of the stage, but the band members itself. You know. Um,
Do
yeah, I've
you
had a few times that happen.
do you ever run that ball gag noise gate? Do you do it like four cable method or anything, or?
Yeah, I started doing that on the last Cavalera tour I did in
Hmm.
uh, in Europe. I started doing the four pedal, or no, sorry, four cable way of doing it through the effects loop and through the front, and it worked out really well. Like that tour, I had the least amount of issues until we went to the UK, where like power
Mm.
is a huge issue there everywhere.
Right. Right.
No offense to the Brits, but y'all power suck. It's noisy.
Yeah. I I had a chance to buy a an angle off of a European dude that I knew,
Mhm.
and he even offered like a step up transformer with it. And
Nice.
yeah, but like I have a my brother has done electrical for a long time, so me and him were kind of looking more into it, and he's like, there's really no actual technical way that it'll work 100% the way it's supposed to, and
Damn.
yeah, it's like it would work, but you're definitely going to shorten the life of the amp, not the tubes, but the amp itself. Like,
Damn. I figured they would be making amps and gear uh, pretty compatible to both different like AC and DC
yeah,
types of power. But I mean, I'm not an expert, so
right.
talk with the wrong guy.
I,
That sucks.
yeah. I think some of those brands like Engel and Dietzel, I could be mistaken. I think they do build amps completely differently for American versus European markets.
That
I
makes a lot.
Yeah, because I got like the preamp, like the 1U rack preamp from
Yeah,
Engel, and like it was I bought it from Sweetwater, so it was all plug and play, no
yeah.
step transformer or anything like that. So, but I looked at this
Is-
other guys. It was like the Invader. It was an Engel Invader, like one of my dream
okay.
amps.
Damn.
And I know I was crushed. I was like, nah, I can't do it, man.
Does that rack unit scratch that itch for you?
Surprisingly, yeah.
Good, good.
I run it into a you know like the old TubeWorks Moss valve power amps, like the black and yellow ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just run into that thing and run through either one of my, well, I guess I can run both of them. I got a Marshall Mode 4 cab and I got this orange 212, and
Nice.
I'm totally satisfied with either one of them.
Oh yeah. What kind
It's
of speakers are in that orange?
that one's just V30s.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna sell at least like one so I can have like a mix for
Yeah.
recording and shit.
Mm,
That's just gonna be the studio cab mostly. I got a rack
yeah.
case for it,
Nice.
but the I love the Marshall Mode 4. It's the MF 400, like the Slayer
Mm.
cab. So it's got like four
Oh, hell yeah.
G12K 100s in it. Like
Damn. That I love those speakers.
they sound so fucking good live. I've had a hard time making IRs or recordings sound as good as what they sound in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've got I recently picked up a Sennheiser E609 microphone because it's kind of I just think it sounds close to what it sounds like in the room
Yeah.
because I'm you know mostly doing gear demos and shit,
Yeah.
but it's a lot closer than like what a 57 was getting with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
57 just have that little mid spike kind of
Yeah.
thing going on,
It's crazy how much of a difference like a mic can make, you know.
right?
Yeah, like again, Sebastian's like super nerdy with that stuff, so he's got a bunch of different mics that he used for specific things, and I'm like, why don't you use this one? He's like, no, like you're an idiot. No, you're not. Don't use that. Why would you do that? Like I don't know, man. I figured it picks it up, you know. He's like, no.
Right. I I've been hearing a lot of good things with like ribbon mics for guitar cabs.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't think I've ever used one like on a guitar cab. To be honest, like when my old band, the one that tracked live whenever we recorded, I don't completely remember what mics that me and my other guitar player used.
Yeah,
I remember it was kind of one of those things we told the engineer what we were looking for, so he kind of used these a different mic for me and him to kind of get us sounding a little bit closer to each
yeah,
other, you know. But I imagine he probably used a 57 on the other guy, and I'm not sure what we used on mine.
yeah. I mean, The I think that's what Sebastian uses for when he records. I think he either uses like one of his ribbon mics and
Hmm.
a 57, or he might use no, I think that's how he does it. I don't know. He's told me a million times how to do it, but I can never like
Yeah.
properly compute it because it goes in one ear and out the other.
The two most popular combinations that I think I've heard
Mm.
of like specifically to pair with like a 57
Mm.
is either uh, an MD 421 or some kind of ribbon mic. I don't know. I haven't got to use it myself yet, so
That is plenty of time. Christmas. Did Santa bring you a new mic? Come on.
nah, because I bought that Sennheiser just a few months ago. So did I did I get any gear? I don't think I got any gear.
Dang.
I didn't get any gear, but to be fair, I also got like literally just a few months ago, I got that mic, the Ingle, and my Kemper player, which is sitting on the desk in front of me. So I've had a pretty busy gear year, but
It's
it
the
was
year of the gear.
yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah.
mostly self funded or again for demos and shit.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I didn't really get any gear besides like a guitar stand my dad got me for Christmas because I just have my guitars piled up here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I bought a bunch of stuff myself before the holidays just because I kind of needed it sooner rather than later. Like the Godot tremolo,
hmm
the 10 Benny Q, just to be safe with that. But I do need to pick up a few more things before I do the next run with Cavalera.
nice.
Yeah,
I
gotta love it.
Okay, when is that tour? What we'll do like a plug here at the end, but
Yeah.
since we're on the topic of it, when's the next Cavalera tour?
So it's next month. I don't know whether I leave the 15th or the 16th of January,
Hmm.
but it's probably one of those days. And we're going to Australia for like a week or so, and then we're going to Japan, and I come home for a little bit, and then we do a US run in like April or something. Not
Gotcha.
April, March, I think. I don't know.
So this is a bit of a, I guess, more logistical question. How do you balance all these different bands? You just keep like a calendar that stays booked up, or
Yeah, I have a Google Calendar that I mostly use for Desolus and Pick Destroyer so that things don't conflict.
hmm
It is very difficult and it can be very stressful at times because uh, before before these three bands were like a couple months ago, I was in like six or seven bands at that point. But it was a whole like have a Google Calendar that I go
hmm
by. Um, the everyone in Pig Destroyer and then a few other people actually have access to it, so they'll write down the days that we'll be doing stuff. Like we'll put down practices, and then we'll put down shows and like runs that we're going to do in certain blocks. And even when we have an offer that comes in, we put it in still just so we don't accidentally book another show or whatever. Um, Desolus kind of does the same thing, but we don't. We're not as organized with it, and I mean, it's not a huge deal if I can't play a gig or a tour, just because we have a couple other people that are willing to play, which is super nice. Um, and then with Cavalera, it's kind of like Gloria hits me up and is like, "Hey, are you free this time of year?" I'm like, "Yeah," or I'm like, "Nah, like I got something going on here." Or like we kind of communicate to where she'll hit me up and be like, "Hey, let me know what this month or this couple months look like for you, and let me know the dates that you have with Big Destroyer." And I give her the dates, and then she kind of books around it because she manages like four or five of their bands.
Hmm.
So if I can't do it or someone else can't do it, she'll put a band in that cycle, like another band that can do it. And then while that band does that, you're free to do this. And it's just
Yeah.
it's a lot of organization, and I'm not the most organized person ever, so it gets a little stressful. I've screwed up a couple times, and it's been just a little disastrous, but it always works out, luckily.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I like you said. I guess things like Google Calendars are a lifesaver. Like I use the calendar on my iPhone constantly.
Yeah.
Right before we hopped on here, well, a little bit ago before we hopped on here, I went ahead and scheduled or created this Zoom meeting, and then went ahead and scheduled. I got one for tomorrow, and then one for a few weeks from now because I know for a fact I won't remember otherwise. But
Yeah. That's how it was all day today. Everyone was like, "So when are you doing that interview?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm 4:30? No, 5:30." And I looked on the message you sent me. It's like, "Oh, 6. All right, cool." I was ready at like 4:30. I was like, "All right, I guess I'll go get something to eat right now and hang out."
I, yeah, admittedly, I was thinking it was 6, and I obviously went ahead and that's what we went with. But I was like, fuck, I really hope I didn't mix it up with because the one tomorrow's at 6 as well. So I was like,
Yeah.
are they both 6?
I think we'd agreed on 5:30 or 6,
Ah,
so it
shit.
works
Okay.
out. It's
Okay.
okay. It's I'm off today. I got all my stuff done earlier in the day. I was learning songs like just
Oh
before
yeah.
we got on, so
Oh
it
yeah.
worked
Good
out.
deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, had just like two more questions for you
That's
if you're
totally
still
cool.
good. Sweet.
Yeah. Take up as much time as you want. I'm having a good time.
Sick. Um, so obviously for things like playing like the Cavalera slash Sepultura set or like Pig Destroyer set, it's kind of just for the most part learning the song, showing up, playing the gig,
Mhm.
right? Have you got to do much like creative input with either group?
Um so with Cavalera, um I learned all the songs and stuff, but we did a track on Schizophrenia on the recording. It was like a whole new track, and I had some like creative control, not control. I don't want to put it like that, but like when
Input.
I yeah, that's yeah, way better word. Um, yeah, we were like kind of jamming the song in the studio before we were recording it, and there's a part that came up, and I was like, "Hey, what? Like, hear me out. What if we did this in here?" And they were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's try that out." And we jammed it, and it sounded good, and I was like, "Oh, okay, sweet, that works out," and they liked it. I didn't really write any riffs or anything for the song. I just like happily
Just kind of like wade in.
yeah, weighed in some input and like something that felt really good there. I kind of just spoke up. Was like, "Hey, what if we did this here?" And they were about it, and it felt really good. As far as like the solo for that song, I think it was "Nightmares of Delirium" is what they call it.
Hmm.
For that, for all the solos, I was in Sebastian's basement recording it, and yeah, I just did it as close as I could, and then I added a few different things. Some of the stuff I like on Rest in Pain, I thought it was hilarious because there was I think it was Banger TV did a review of it, and I think his name's Sam Dunn who does the documentaries, but
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, there's a harmony part in there. I don't maybe it wasn't like maybe it was really low in the first one and they just did it louder this time. But I was like, no, like we just added that last minute. Like I was just playing it for fun
Yeah.
and we all liked it. So we just kind of kept it in there. Little minimal stuff like that, really.
Hmm.
With Pig Destroyer, Scott does most, if not all, the writing,
Hmm.
even the drums. Like he'll
Right.
program the drums to make it sound like the drummer has 8 limbs, like an octopus. But we add our little taste of it here and there, of like riffs and stuff. Like I do some things a little differently, based off of feel. Um, so for those bands, I have a little bit to say, not a whole lot, I don't think, but I mean, I don't push whatever I'm doing too far because it's not about me or anything. Like I'm a scab basically. So I'm just in it to like hold it together like some glue, you know?
Sure.
Uh, so all the musical stuff I put like calls and call the shots to are mostly like the smaller bands I'm in. Like whenever we're writing, I put some input or like for Desolus, I have a couple songs I've written the entire song.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like it's mostly the only shots I call are like very minimal for them just because like it's I'm just some dude. But
Sure.
yeah. I have tossed around the idea of me writing a Pig Destroyer song, but Scott didn't seem too stoked on that idea.
Mm. I say that man's been at the helm for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and he knows what he's doing, so I don't mean it out of any disrespect or anything, but I'm like, come on, like let me give a little challenge for me. I would love to write a Pig Destroyer song and see what you think of it, but yeah, he's got his own like thing he does, and I don't want to. Why fix what's not broken? You know
Sure.
that old
Sure.
saying. So,
What uh what would you say are some of your sources of inspiration for like Desolus, like the projects that you do work towards?
um, so for Desolus, I kind of like. Well, I grew up as like a thrash, like a shithead thrash metal kid. So like a lot of stuff I really liked. Um, was like Evil Dead, the band from LA, and they had that album Annihilation of Civilization.
So good.
Like it's amazing. I love that
Yeah.
album so much. It's one of my top ones. And then like Demolition Hammer and stuff like that. Like for drumming it,
Fantastic.
yeah, like that stuff for at least the drums, you know, like I love the fills that were used in that. Actually one of the new Desolate songs that I wrote, it's like I I took a lot of inspiration from like the beginning riff it sounds like that song what is it? It's off Annihilation of Civilization. It's got a chunky like jin 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 jin. It's like a super crossovery riff, and I always thought it was like so hard. So I uh I used that in there, and I used a bunch of influences from like Sodom and um like even like Cro-Mags and like other like hardcore punk from like the
Yeah.
80s, like crossover stuff, really, just to kind of make it accessible, but also have the ripping aspects of like Slayer and Sodom Creator.
Oh, for
For us,
sure.
yeah, for us as a whole, it's very much like the German thrash, and with like Sadist, Dark Angel, and Sepultura, of course, kind of peppered in there. It's kind of hard not to because
Yeah.
like they had great riffs and they wrote killer songs, like in the sense of like a songwriting way where it's not just like riff, insert riff, insert riff. It's more like it takes you on a little journey, you know? I
Right.
love it. Yeah. And that's for like Desolus. That is we'll take a little here and there. We'll even I don't even want to say because like it's kind of goofy, but we have like some non-metal influence. Well, at least I do have some non-metal influences on it,
Hmm.
uh, like like melody wise and like certain parts of songs that aren't like the typical like thrash song. You hear it and you're like, oh, that would be so sick if that was like more thrashy, and you insert it and it sounds cool that way. But yeah, outside of like that stuff, I do. Me and Sebastian write a lot of music that isn't metal too, and we just have. We'll get into we'll get into a mood where we will listen to like different genres of music and kind of obsess over it and be like, yeah, why don't we make a song that sounds like I don't know Rick James and Prince if they were friends, you know? I'll do that, and then recently we did like a new wave goth kind of album. Like we wrote it in 2 days. We were just in the
That
basement,
rules.
yeah, just crushing beers, and we wrote a bunch of music, and we did a whole like EP of R&B songs like from the 60s, like Sam Cooke and Marvin Gaye. We do that
Oh
too.
yeah.
So we're just very open-minded with music. So like if we hear a song or hear a style of music, we'll probably try to make it, and it'll come out to us. It'll come out good. To other people, it's kind of up to them.
Sure.
But yeah, you know.
What is all right? This just came to my mind. What is the most non-metal melody that you ever heard that you're like, that would sound so sick if I could implement that into like something with distorted guitar?
Huh.
Like, is there anything that's ever stood out to you? You're like, I want to. On let's be frank. Like, heard some kind of pop melody and like, I'm gonna rip that for this like lead or something or this guitar melody.
Yeah, it's funny because it's been both ways before.
Okay.
So there's a offhand, it's hard to think for the non-metal melody to go into a metal thing. I do know that I don't know if he wants this out there, but Matt Harvey did take a melody from a Daft Punk song and made it an Exhumed song, from what I've heard. It's a rumor, it might be true. But I've turned Pig Destroyer riffs into disco riffs before because it sounded cool. Like I'm pretty
Heck
sure
yeah.
it was the riff to Terrifier. The da 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 da
Yeah.
da 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 da. I made it like dan do 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 do. Same riff. I just like messed with the feeling and put it up in tune. There you go, disco riff, you know?
That's
And
amazing.
I'm sure if you take a disco song and you just mess around with the feeling of it and like tune it down, totally can work. I mean, like Mary Jane from Rick James, that would totally work as a metal song. You know, it would be
Rules.
like a heavy metal song. Like it could totally be like a Ronnie James Dio song, maybe like a, I don't know. I don't know. It could work.
Yeah.
It would take a while. I'd have to like do some serious thinking and deep dive some riffs. And I'll come
Hell yeah.
back like, all right, I got you a list right here, man.
Well, hey, that was pretty good right there.
Yeah.
I'll never hear Terrifier the same way again now.
Dude. Yeah. I mean, think about Roots from Sepultura. That's
Hmm.
just I'm too sexy for my shirt. The vocal pattern for it.
I have heard that. I didn't Max say that too? Like, didn't
I'm
he?
pretty sure, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that sounds, yeah, no, that's 100%. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone does it. My theory on music is like every song has already been written. So basically, what you have to do now is kind of rearrange everything and just make it feel however you want it to feel, you know?
Now, now I'm just thinking of like vocal patterns that would be really cool for a metal song, and instantly thought of like, was it Milli Vanilli, the like song "Everybody" or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That would work. Any like early 2000s pop, you know, like
Mm,
I saw the sun opens up my eyes. You know, that could totally work too. Just make it in a minor key. There you go. It'll work.
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna write some like black metal melodies using like Hanson melodies or something
Oh
later.
man, there would be some poor kids in Norway that their heads would explode. They wouldn't.
Right.
They, they couldn't believe it. You know.
All right. Let's I'll wrap this up with our last question, and it is just what is your Mount Rushmore of metal bands and or albums? Just whatever's easier.
Oh man, dang! Mount Rushmore metal bands or albums. Okay, so that's a good one. Mount Rushmore bands. So I'd probably say this is difficult. Guy, I listen to so much different stuff all the time that I'll switch between a lot of things. So I'll give you an album or two, or like an album Mount Rushmore. So
Sure.
I would say maybe what's it called? Eating Back to Life, because
Okay.
that's a solid death metal record.
Yeah.
Um, Let me think. Probably Persecution Mania.
Hell yeah.
Uh, Trying to think. Let's see. Scorpions. They're what's the album that has the zoo on it? Might throw you off a little bit with the zoo.
Is that not
Uh,
the name of the album too?
Maybe it is, and I'm just an idiot.
I can't remember. I know what you're talking about.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I think it's called Crazy World.
Oh, okay.
No, no, that's got Wind of Change on it. Don't.
Hmm.
Can we edit that out?
Yeah.
No. Uh, oh, Animal Magnetism. That's what it is.
Oh,
That
duh.
album's so heavy. Um. Oh, Dokken, Tooth and Nail for sure. Uh.
First time Dawkins has ever been dropped on this podcast. I love it.
Really? Oh yeah. I mean,
Zach from Outer Heaven, I could see might have possibly dropped Dawkins.
yeah. He had. I've known Zach. He's actually one of the people I've known for the longest, besides Sebastian.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, he had to have. He asked, and if you ever like do another a thing with him, ask him about his Michael McDonald impression. It's hilarious. Oh,
Hell yeah.
back to Mount Rushmore though. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Nah.
Uh, the damn. Trying to think one for every genre. Um. Oh. Either Symphonies of Sickness or
It's a damn good one.
Descanting. I forgot how. It's such a long title, and it's very. I don't have that many like IQ points to really remember what the whole album is called, but that the one with Corporal Jigsaw Quandary on it,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
Carcass record,
Absolutely.
and probably Morbid Angel's Covenant.
Nice.
That's my favorite Morbid Angel album. I don't give a shit what anyone says. I love Altars of Madness, but Covenant's so evil, like
Right.
it's unbelievable. So that'd be my Mount Rushmore, and then bands would be definitely like Morbid Angel, obviously Sepultura, uh, trying to think what else. Sodom, Dokken for sure, maybe even Rat, Kiss, if you count them as heavy metal. Dio, Riot, some heavy metal for you, and Scorpion. I don't know. I like so much stuff. It's hard. Like,
I get it.
usually with lists, I'm terrible because I'll just start naming every single band I like.
Sure. No, I'm right
Yeah.
there with it. Which, by the way, how sick is the speaking of Sodom, that was one of my Christmas gifts was like the new like re-release.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, have you checked it out yet?
Is that the one where they re-release all the demos?
So
Oh,
it's
dude, it's
like
so.
it's like the one side is like a remaster and the other is a re-recording of Tapping the Vein.
Re-recording of Tapping? I didn't hear about that. Oh,
It's
I gotta
pretty
look this
sick.
up. Damn.
It's like
Yeah. No.
it's like a
Oh, the Super
deluxe.
Deluxe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that, and it comes with all the goodies with it too. That's
Uh
like a little like celebratory like goodie bag of like.
so we didn't get that. We just got I'm assuming my wife picked it up from our local record shop, and it was like the dual vinyl thing,
Oh,
but it wasn't like a package or no, it had some cool like photos and stuff on
oh yeah.
inside whenever you
Mm.
pull it out. The vinyl is like a cool like bloody like red, and you've got like
That
the IV in the middle and shit. Yeah,
yeah.
it's super sick looking.
Man, I will say Sodom is probably one of the bands that have stayed the most consistent with their sound over the years.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why they're one of my favorite bands and I love them so much. And they're like super cool dudes. I've heard some stories from Max and Igor about them on their first run with Sodom.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit that happened. But I'll leave that for another time.
I I think I think two vocalists that have actually somehow gotten better with time. Maybe just because they're getting like just a little bit more grizzled as they get older.
Yeah,
So it's just one would be Max, and the
yeah,
other, would be Tom. Like,
yeah, for sure. I saw them at a festival in Barcelona, uh, and they started like 15 minutes late because something was wrong with the drum monitor. Like they
hmm,
got nothing out of it, but they still played. They played their entire set, and they sounded so good. Like I've seen them. The first time I saw them was completely on accident. I was teching for Soulfly, and I was setting up the stage, and it was like one of those things where it's like stage over here, stage over here. This band played, now this band's setting up, and then this stage starts and this band sets up for their set. And I was setting up over here, and I just started hearing like I can't remember what song it was, uh, but I remember hearing the guitar riff, and I started hearing Tom's voice, and I was like, I looked up and I saw Sodom's like banner. I was like, no fucking way! Like they they canceled on Death Fest like 3 or 4 years in a row. What the hell? Like, are they just right here, right now, in front of my eyes? And it was so sick. Like I got distracted watching them when I was supposed to be setting up, and I got yelled at by a stage manager. He's like, "Hey, get your shit done. We got to do sound check." I'm like, all right, sorry, But they were good. I saw them at Death Fest as well. They played like an hour and 40 minutes, and like
fuck yeah.
as stoked as I was so tired. I don't know if people could circle pit for an hour and 40 minutes. Like I'm not that much in shape anymore. It bums me out. But
Yeah, well, welcome to 30.
yeah, the dirty 30. I'm ready
Absolutely.
for it. Knees hurting, back's hurting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It's it's like you never I don't think anybody really fully understands until you get to about 30 how much you can love and enjoy a concert and hate it at the exact same time.
Yeah, man. It's crazy how it happened so quick too. Like a year or two ago, I was going to like every local show. I was seeing all these bands, went to every show, and then I started getting a little busier. And now I'm like, I don't even want to leave my house. Like I don't even want to go to the grocery store to get food. I'd rather starve. I just don't feel like dealing with people right now.
I feel that. I feel that
Now,
for sure.
I got a question for you.
What's up?
If you can, okay, two questions. Sorry. Uh, First one is if you can have any signature guitar, like specifically your own, have it any way
Hmm.
you want. The budget is unlimited. You can make your own shape if you want to. What would be your perfect guitar shape, spec of the neck,
Hmm.
all of it? What would it be like?
Okay. Uh, well, so I guess it would be twofold, right?
Hmm.
One, I'll is behind me, so I'll grab
Oh,
it.
how convenient. Damn.
Luckily, I can edit stuff. Anyway, so this is my custom Shiva.
Whoa.
This is one of the guys I was telling you about, WKM,
Yeah, yeah.
20 27 frets, and I got the single coil up at the neck,
Nice.
and then hip shot contour because I didn't want to do the full floating trim kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I respect it.
Yeah, I don't know. This was like I'm trying to be brutally honest with myself what I really wanted, and I want like for a six string I wanted a super strat.
Yeah.
27 frets was a bit of an experiment, admittedly, but
I've never seen a 27 fretted guitar, so that's pretty crazy.
and
Love
re-
it. Oh,
re-
damn.
yeah, really crazy roasted flame maple, and
Damn, that's pretty.
even used it for the
Whoa.
back plates. And
That's
then
nice.
I don't know if you can really see, uh,
Oh.
it's the Empire logo from Star Wars done in resin.
Oh yeah. That's badass. Does it
Yeah.
glow in the dark? Or is it that
It's
from the
it's
light?
got lumen lace side dots, but the resin like fret markers, they don't glow.
Mm. Okay.
But if you charge up with some light, the side dots will they glow.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, and then so that's like my ideal like 6 string shredder guitar.
Mm.
The neck is somewhere between like an Ibanez RG and a Jackson Soloist.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's like just super shreddy, but still somehow comfortable in the hand for
Yeah.
rhythm stuff. And it's alder body, which is my favorite now because it's super dense, a really quality wood, but it's not
Mm.
crazy heavy.
Oh, good.
And I think I sent you that X shaped guitar that's getting built
Yeah.
for me, the red one. Yeah. So
That's gonna be.
that's the other side of the coin of like what my ideal guitar would be, but in a very extreme kind of
Yeah.
guitar
Yeah.
because all about the what's that joke about like the duality of man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But fuck. So that thing just crazy pointy, and people in the future, you'll see a video at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy pointy, 7 string, 27-inch scale length. I love active pickups.
Mm.
This one's got EMG X series because
Okay.
got more headroom,
Mm.
not as compressed. The 7 string is gonna have they're like these pickups that I kind of worked with a company called Heathen
Okay.
on designing. Like there are some other passive pickups trying to sound active, and I don't think any of those really do that great of a job. Like
Yeah.
they're cool in their own, like the Barzoo deactivator.
Mm.
Cool sounding pickup does not sound like advertised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that. For me now, like I used to not give a shit about pickups at all. Like I was
Hmm.
like, whatever's in the guitar is cool. But now I'm a little bit more particular. I used to have an endorsement with that company Lace pickups.
Yeah,
I love their pickups. I thought they were. I No offense to you because I know you like active. I'm not an active guy.
sure.
It's just not my bag. I leave guitars plugged in sometimes. It drains battery. Frustrating. But I'll just pull it out. All my guitars are out anyway. I'll show you. I
Sure.
have an ESP that has. So this is. I used to use this for one of my old bands. I
Okay.
was a doomy kind of band,
Yeah.
but it had these death buckers in it.
Hell yeah.
Super warm and distorted pickups. These were my favorite pickups. I still love them. This guitar is super filthy. I didn't realize until I put it up to the light. But yeah, this is a really great guitar. It's got the best flag on it.
Nice.
But I used this for a long time. I actually cracked the hell out of it.
Hell yeah.
I've thrown this guitar around and dropped it, and it's always like stayed functional, luckily. So those were my favorite pickups for a while. And now I actually stopped using lace pickups because the A&R dude that I was working with, super, super nice guy. And he told me some things that was going on in the company and how he had to leave. So after that, I was like, I'm just going to find another pickup company. But
That's a bummer.
yeah, it sucked. I really like those pickups, but lately I've been using the Seymour Duncan JBs.
Classic.
Yeah, I think they sound great. I used to think I really needed all the gain in the world, but I don't. This one doesn't have JBs. I just wanted to show it off because we were talking about Strat shredding
Sure.
guitar. But this is what I use for Nailbomb.
Nice.
This is an 87 Charvel. I
Hell
forgot
yeah.
what series it's called, but it's super sick. It made me fall back in love with like Strat shapes again because I like extreme. Like you said, duality man right there. Like you got to have the extreme shapes, but you also got to be able to tone it back. But I'm thinking about actually. I don't know what kind of Floyd this is. I don't know if this is an original one or not. It just says
Yeah.
Rose on it, so it might be an original, but I've had issues with it to where the saddles started stripping, so it makes me wonder if it's actually an original Floyd Rose or not. But I'm thinking about switching all my guitars to go to tremolos now after I switched that
Sure.
one out, just because it felt so nice and smooth. Like, have you ever played with a Kaler?
Yes. I've well only tried. Yeah, just one. Whenever I tried a one of the Hanneman LTDs like a long time ago, I
Yeah.
just remember it feeling completely effortless. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of like how it feels for me. Like it's definitely one of those kind of tremolos where it feels pretty effortless and like really smooth on like I'm rough on these things. Like I jerk it around and pick up the guitar with it and everything. Um, but that one it felt like a good balance between regular Floyd and like the smoothness of a Kaler guitar or
hell yeah.
Kaler, and I that's what I really like about it too. And the fine tuners, the
Hmm.
way they sit on this one, on like a normal Floyd Rose,
Sure.
it goes like straight up, whereas the Kalers kind of go back a little bit. So
Yeah.
it makes it a little easier to like. I'm used to palm muting on fixed bridge guitars, so it made it nice for that feeling too.
Sure.
And I didn't like knock it out of tune with my hand.
Yeah.
So I've become a Goto believer now. So I think I'm just going to use those from now on.
That's killer.
Yeah.
I'm s- still really dying to have mine. I've got one. I got one of the Epiphone Ghost Horse guitars
Mhm. Yeah.
that has like the fixed, not fixed, like one of like the top mount, like what you have there,
Yeah.
like surface mount kind of Floyd Rose,
Yeah.
which I dig it. I mean, it's like a little bit more stable than like a fully recessed, like fully floating kind of trim.
I dig
But
that too.
yeah, I've thought the same thing. Like this thing's pretty sweet. I bet it'd be even sweeter if I upgraded to a Goto or something.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the next step. I feel like
Sure.
surface one. That's like 80s. It's a throwback to the retroness, but
Hmm.
with the technology of the modern day. You know,
Absolutely.
love it.
Since we were sharing pickups, I got to share this one too. Hang on. So this is a Ibanez RG that I've had since I was like 15,
Mm.
and it's become like the pickup demo guitar because I got one of those like Mad Hatter solderless wiring harnesses in it.
Oh, damn! I've seen those before.
They're sick. I've got them in a couple guitars now.
Mm.
Just like has like a little terminal that you feed the wires into and tighten it down
Yeah.
with like a screw kind of clamp. But one of my next pickup demos is going to be for this bridge pickup here.
Oh, damn! What's that?
That is a Claymore from Arcana pickups. And it's got like a cool, I asked to have this like cool Viking rune on the
Yeah, yeah.
front. I've used it on like some other, stuff that I've ordered. It's the Viking rune for death or the end of a cycle.
Mm.
Rigs of death metal. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? This
love that.
seems this
Yeah,
seems appropriate, right?
it seems right. You know.
Yeah. Um, and this thing is great output wise. It's similar to like a JB or a Duncan
Mm.
distortion, but it's got this like kind of hi-fi sort of quality to it. Like you can ring out a chord and you can get like real chimey kind of highs to it that aren't like super ice picky or harsh or anything like that.
That's one of the things I had an issue with. The I had a guitar that had EMG 85s maybe or 81s, but they sounded really tinny to me. I think it might have been that actual guitar I just showed you, the ESP. It
Mm,
used to have EMGs, and it had like a very tinny kind of thing to it, and I
yeah,
didn't like it. As soon as I put the death buckers in, it gave it that warm wash kind of sound. I like warm pickups a lot, warm
sure.
because I like the feeling of like the when you palm mute, it's you can feel the speakers wanting to blow, but they don't. You know.
Right.
uh oh, I okay. Sorry, I just thought of something that I could have said for a gear wish thing I could have. Um, I don't know if I worded that correctly, but I really wish they either made like onboard thing for guitars or like a pickup or even like a pedal or something. But there's this like I think it's only in like the older Les Paul custom or not customs, but older Les Paul pickups where like you would play a note and the sustain of it would go from playing into a feedback of that same note and would
Hmm.
like last forever. Um, it it always catches me in that Cheech and Chong song "Lost Due to Incompetence," that Carlos Santana sounding song. There's like a solo part he does like and it goes into some feedback and it stays the same pitch and he's playing it and it's so smooth and it goes into another part of the solo and I want that sound, but I don't think I'll ever be able to obtain that.
Have Have you checked out the Fernandez Sustainer pickups?
Oh, let me look this up. Uh-oh,
I was
where's my phone?
I was like, what you're describing is basically like what the Sustainers do.
Damn. Okay.
Schecter actually makes some like that you can buy off the shelf with them already installed too.
Really?
I think they're one of the few, if not only, brands where you can buy one off the shelf brand new with the system already installed,
Damn.
or the Sustainiac, something like that.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Well, I know Fernandez came up with it, but they're done now. So I don't know if Schecter has their own series or something like that, but they do have a Sustainiac pickup, and I've played them.
Yeah.
Super like addicting fun.
I see a sustainer kit right here. It's
Hmm.
about $655.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I won't be getting that, unfortunately. Damn.
They as say honestly, it'd be more cost effective just to buy one of those guitars brand new because I think they're like maybe
Yeah.
a grand, most of them. And then I've seen there's been a couple smaller brands that I want to say are like I don't know Malaysian or something like
Yeah.
that I've seen pop up on social media that are like a supposed to be a cheaper alternative.
Okay.
Haven't seen a ton of reviews on them, so I'm still a little skeptical on them. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
If only Mike Klein knew how to make some awesome pickups so he can make a copy of that, you know?
right.
I got to start getting into his head. I need a worm to put it into his head.
Yeah, the sustainer would be sick. I I kind of cheat for now with
Mm,
using a compressor, and that's kind of my workaround. If I'm like wanting to really hold out sustain,
yeah.
I'll kick on a compressor and maybe even turn off the noise gate, something like that. But
Huh.
until I can afford a sustainer guitar anyway.
Yeah. I just might have to talk to Mike Klein and be like, hey, bro, I
Yeah.
got you. How can you get this? Can you
He's
help me?
knowing him, he'll be like, actually, I've got something that's been sitting on my bench for about a year now. I just haven't really messed with it too much.
Yeah. Every time I ask him about something, he'll be like, yeah, I got something for that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Thank, thank God, Mike. Thank you.
I think when he was making my ball gag noise gate for me, I was talking to him like, because I was like really delving into the TC electronic integrated preamp,
Yeah.
like the Meshuggah thing.
Mm.
I was like, man, have you ever messed with that circuit design or anything? He's like, funny you should ask. He's like, yeah, I've got one sitting here. I've just kind of held on to it. I'm not selling them or anything. I just made one to mess with it. It's like, yeah, you can, I'll send it with your ball gag if you want.
That's so. He did that with Sebastian. He had like some funky pedal. I think
Yeah.
it was called like the Dirty Pickle or something like that. But
Fuck
it's like
yeah.
this, it sounds like one of those envelope pedals. It's
Oh, okay.
sounding. And he was like, yeah, I just made it for fun. It just sounds crazy. I'm like,
Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
we'll fuck with it. Yeah, why not?
Greatest guy.
I know.
I need to have him back on the show sometime.
Yeah, you do. I try to like drop his name to everyone. Like anyone that like
Sure.
looks at my pedal board, like, what is that? Like, oh, Mike Klein, man. that's a must. You have to have it, you know, just
Fuck yeah.
because like his stuff is so like so good, and also he's such a nice guy that I want him to succeed in every facet of life, and I want him to have all the happiness in the world, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Travis, man, I don't want to eat up too much more of your
Oh,
time
you
here.
good, man?
Anything you want to plug real quick before we hop off here?
Uh, I'm in a few bands, and it'd be cool if you listen to them. Desolus could use some love. We didn't get on any like album of the years, uh, but yeah, keep an eye out for us. I'll be out on the road with Cavalera in March or April. I'll be out in Australia, in Japan, or in Japan in January. Yeah, and just listen to lots of cool stuff and be kind to everyone. That's what I would like to plug.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. It was a pleasure
And
being on here. I thanks for hitting me up to do it. I was really looking forward to doing this.
absolutely, man. I mean, you've been doing some cool shit. I'd be remiss if I, didn't invite you on, talk some gear and some metal.
Yeah, I don't normally do well, I don't get normally asked to do this stuff just because like I sometimes sound like an idiot, and I don't know. I trip over my words a lot. I get excited too much and I start to I don't know, rant about stuff.
I
But
mean, me too, and I've done like about 100 of these or something so far.
yeah,
So
I think you're doing great. You got a good channel. I was watching it a couple days ago with Sebastian, like I said, and it was a fun watch. And looking forward to seeing this and seeing more of what you do in the future.
fuck yeah, man. Appreciate that and appreciate all everything you're working on, everything you're putting out, bringing the metal to people.
Hell yeah, brother! I hope we get to play West Virginia. I'd love to meet you in person.
Fuck yeah, dude. The close to me, there's like one decent venue. So it's one of them. But
Yeah,
hey, that's where I met Sebastian and Matt there, so you never know.
yeah,
Hopefully.
I
Well,
think
fuck.
I'll probably
Actually,
be there.
I saw Max play there, but you hadn't joined the band yet. That was I think Mark was still playing guitar.
Oh, was that for Cavalera or Soulfly?
It was Cavalera. It was the Morbid Devastation tour.
I
Or no, Beneath Your Eyes.
yeah. So,
Yeah, I got it backwards.
yeah, that's actually Dan Gonzalez from Possessed.
Fuck, yes it was
Yeah,
because I even
yeah,
talked with Dan. I'm sorry. I know me. I even hung out with Dan at that show.
yeah,
I forgot.
yeah.
Damn.
It's okay, but yeah, yeah. That was probably was that on the last run they did for that cycle?
It had to be or close to it.
Yeah, because I filled in on bass. That's a crazy story. I filled in on bass for them for like a couple weeks, and I got to Baltimore from where it started, and then the other bassist, the bassist that was in the band at the time, ended up joining back in with them and finishing the tour. But
Mike.
yeah, I think I just missed playing that by day. Yeah, Mike Leone.
Yeah, yeah. I,
Yeah,
I I think I do remember Mike playing there.
yeah.
Like it's all coming back now. My memory sucks, but
Yeah,
right.
But yeah,
Hell yeah, man.
hope you guys have a happy new year, and I wish nothing but the best.
Likewise, man. Thank you again for taking the time. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Same
And
here.
hopefully we can do this again sometime and
Yeah,
focus a little bit more on Desolus, hopefully.
all good. I play drums in that. It doesn't matter. I'm just playing. But yeah, hit me up anytime, man. Sounds good.
Sure thing, dude. All right.
Oh yeah.
And we will see you all later. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.